magazines. Back in the day, getting your video game information was never as easy as just whipping out a smartphone and looking it up. One of the best ways to get your video game news was through magazines. And if you've never used one of these things, then you're gonna learn something today. Now, video game news appearing in magazines can be dated all the way back to the 1970s. But it wasn't until about 1981 that we got our first dedicated video game magazine. The point of video game magazines was just that. It was to advertise video games, but also give you the most up-to-date important news happening in the video game industry. Every month, a new release would come out with more updated information about the latest games and interviews from developers. A lot of times, magazines were the best ways to find out about updated news on your most anticipated video games. Before trailers were readily available and you could search them anywhere you want on the internet, you had to rely on screenshots taken and put into video game magazines to get updates on what games you were really excited about. During the period of video game magazines, there have been over 100 dedicated video game magazines that have come out, if that doesn't tell you how popular magazines used to be. My video game magazine of choice was Game Informer, and oh boy, when the next issue always came out and showed up at my house, I read that thing cover to cover. I was so excited about the newest games that were coming out, getting updates on games I was already excited about. A lot of times, this is where you discovered and found new games to be excited about, were ones that they stuck in the middle of the magazine. You gotta remember, this is in a time where after you read the article, you couldn't just go online and look up more information about the game that was coming out. You had to sit there and fester and wait on the article that you had read until the next issue came out. And sometimes you wouldn't get updates on the games you were excited about, so you just read the same article over and over and over again until eventually you would maybe get an update 6 months to a year down the road. In this day and age, video game magazines have almost gone completely extinct. Everything is moving online nowadays. There are still some print editions of some magazines, but they're very hard to come by. But I do recommend, if you live somewhere that still has print video game magazines, go and pick one up. Read it. Give it a chance before they're completely gone. And there you have it. If you didn't know anything about video game magazines, now you do. And remember, like and follow for more video game history.